Good parents know a baby's life should only be exciting to a certain point. After friends have visited, gifts have been given, and faces have been made. After cake and cuddles, after lots of lights and maybe a few songs, eventually, it is enough. The baby will stop laughing and soon start to cry. The wise parents know nothing is wrong. Though the baby cries now, it is simply time for a nap. The brain must process and digest the multitude of impressions. The curtains are closed. The baby is put to bed, and soon it will sleep and find calm. Everyone knows life will be much easier again in an hour. Sadly, we do not treat ourselves with such care. We plan a week where we see friends each night, where we have 12 meetings, 3 needing much preparation, where we take an overnight trip abroad on Wednesday, where we watch 3 films, read 14 newspaper articles, change the bedsheets 6 times, have 5 heavy meals after 8 p.m., and drink 30 cups of coffee. Then we complain our lives are too hectic and we are near a mental collapse. We ignore how much of our childhood remains in us today, so we miss how much care is required to keep things simple and quiet. What shows as anxiety is not a weird phenomenon. It is the logical, distressed plea of our mind to not be relentlessly overstimulated in such an overwhelming manner. Here are some things we need to make our lives simple. Fewer people, fewer tasks. It is theoretically a privilege to know many people and be able to do many things. Yet from a psychological view, it is also draining and even dangerous. The wording is somewhat old and severe, and one could question the timelines, but this remark from Nietzsche holds true. All men, at all times, fall into slaves and free, for whoever does not have 2/3 of his day for himself is a slave. Be he otherwise whatever he likes, statesman, merchant, official, scholar. We must see that what we are physically able to do in a day is not psychologically sound or sensible. It may be possible to see 1 or 2 foreign capitals in a day, run a firm, and manage a home at once, but we should not be shocked if such routines end in a breakdown. Sleep. Lots of it, at least 7 hours. If we cannot do this, we must at least know we are sleep-deprived, so we do not make our anxieties worse by hunting for obscure reasons. We may not need to divorce, begin a totally new career, or move abroad. We might just need a little more rest. Media. What we take in when we check our phones is perhaps the main cause of our mental distress. Previously, it was unthinkable that there could ever be too much news. Information from politics or from overseas was scarce, precious, and costly. But since the mid-20th century, news has been commodified and become a major, overlooked risk to our mental survival. Every minute of every day lets us fill our heads with the mania, disasters, anger, failures, ambitions, victories, insanity, and tragedies of strangers across our troubled planet. The media speaks to our need to know and the impulse to know it immediately. But what they have forgotten is our equally great, and often greater, need not to know. Because we cannot change anything, because the stories are too violent, discouraging, and sad. Because our minds are fragile, because we have duties close to home, because we must live our own lives rather than be shredded by tales of others' lives, which are finally as remote and insignificant to us as the people of the Egyptian court of Sneferu in late 2613 BC. Rumination. Sleeplessness and anxiety are the mind's payback for all the thoughts we avoid having consciously by day. To find peace, we must schedule time where we have nothing to do but lie in bed with a pen and paper and think. In doing so, we must specifically consider 3 questions. What am I afraid of? What has hurt me and how? What is on my mind? We must sort through the chaotic content of our minds. Every hour of life demands at least 10 minutes of careful reflection. Expectations. Naturally, it would be nice to be exceptional, famous, and the best globally. But perhaps a greater achievement is to stay mentally healthy and kind. We could choose not to conquer the world, and in exchange, lead a longer and more serene life. We are not fleeing from challenges. We are just shifting our view of what the real challenge might be, and more importantly, where true success resides. A quiet life does not mean surrender or flight. Instead, it can mean the very wise realization that the truly satisfying things can exist away from the spotlight and big cities, with modest incomes and far from the manic, sleepless race for professional status. We understand. Excitement can be fun for a time, but it also kills you. Simplicity is true wisdom. We might need a lot more naps.